Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
We've been looking at various news reports regarding the case of Reckless Ben and Bricks and Minifigs. We've seen what's happening. The latest update from him is he received some kind of an injunction or a gag order that is preventing him from reporting on what has happened. He cannot release his part 3 without risk of criminal charges and basically the court potentially taking his money. I'm not sure what the injunction entails that he has been served with, what the gag order he has been served with is. His GoFundMe did get his and Brian Mansel's GoFundMe did get taken down, but as I understand, the GoFundMe is back up again. So that is back up and live. I don't know if it quantifies as a First Amendment violation because this is speculative. I do not know for sure. I'm only speculating. I'm guessing because there is pending cases, possibly both civil and criminal, in regards to Ben and Bricks and Minifigs. Bricks and Minifigs probably got an injunction against him to basically not poison the well, so to speak. At least poison the well further, because if they're going to have a case, especially in civil, that Ben releasing his video, they probably argued could poison the well and make it unable for them to get a quote unquote fair trial. I'm guessing that is the argument that was posed by the Bricks and Minifigs attorney, which is why the injunction was put into place. Again, that is speculative. I do not know for sure what they filed, the rationale that they filed it for, and why it was accepted. All I know is that he has said he is unable to release his part 3 because of a court order. But that has not stopped other individuals from doing their own reports. And Coffeezilla, one of our greatest YouTube investigative reporters, got on the case, and he is issuing his report. He put this out today. Now, this may be, just so you're aware, this may be a part 1 of 2. He did mention, I did see him when he was talking about the Bricks and Minifig store vigilante situation that he talked about earlier this week. He did say that there's a lot of data, and this may end up being, I'm not sure if he compiled it all into one or if he is doing a 2-part series. I'm sure he will probably explain, but this, at minimum, if this is not his full report, this is at minimum part 1. Considering it's an hour long, he obviously did some serious digging. So without further ado, since this is probably gonna take a little bit. So let's jump into it and see what Coffee has got, what he's able to uncover.
A $200,000 Lego collection went missing, causing a lot of you to ask me to find it. And after seeing the cops point guns at YouTubers, people get arrested and sued for $1.3 million, I decided enough.
No, hold up. What's that
the
lawsuit?
cops point guns at YouTubers, people get arrested and sued.
Receive many thanks is going after. So they are suing Ben and Brian Mansell and Victor Nguyen for $1.3 million. Via lie. I'm guessing they're trying to sue them for slander. Either slander or defamation.
For $1.3 million, I decided enough was enough. This looks like a case for the internet detective. This time in the $10 million Lego studio. So I talked to every suspect involved. What I found shocked me.
Hey, this should be good. Okay, to your comment, Lego should sue Bricks and Minifigs. And I saw someone said they might not want that type of publicity. Here's the problem, is with Lego in and of itself, the fact that Lego has not weighed in as of yet either way I can see that as being both a positive for them and as a negative for them. Because remember, Bricks and Minifigs, just because they sell Legos, they are not part of the Lego Corporation in and of itself. However, there is absolutely a legitimate concern about what Bricks and Minifigs is doing, causing damage to the Lego brand, because their business is entirely about Legos. Their entire business is a Lego reseller, effectively speaking. And by that token, since all they do is deal in Legos, it absolutely can be hurting Lego's brand, that this independent company that deals with Legos, I'm guessing they probably have some kind of not partnership, but they probably have some kind of like agreement with Lego to be, a reseller of their products. It absolutely could be hurting Lego's brand. So I am surprised that Lego has not weighed in on it in some way. Not necessarily sue Bricks and Minifigs, but I'm kind of surprised that Lego has not come out publicly and said that, Bricks and Minifigs is not affiliated with Lego in any way. It is, we are, it is, we are staying out of this because this is a legal issue between a private business, a private reseller, and a private individual. We do not wish to get involved because the Lego company is not involved in this in any way. I'm quite surprised they have not done at least that, if not anything further. Why they have not chosen to do that, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking if we just keep our heads down, maybe we can avoid too much fire from it. But this is the internet. And the internet is going to be starting to look at the Lego company itself a lot harder. The more this goes on and the more that comes out about everything that's happening, people are going to actually be looking at Lego a lot closer the longer this goes on, and wondering, why aren't you saying anything about this? Why aren't you doing anything about this? We'll have to wait and see what happens there.
Okay, before we can find these missing Legos, let's give some background. A massive Star Wars collection was put on consignment at a Lego store called Bricks and Minifigs in Salem, Oregon. Consignment just means the owner, Brian Mansell, gave it to a store to sell, and he was supposed to get a cut when it sold. The entire time, he maintained ownership of the collection, and a social media post estimated it to be worth about $200,000. But then, on November 14th, 2024, everything went wrong. This was the night that Crystal and Ben Gorman, the prior franchise owners of the Salem store, got kicked out by this guy. That is Brandon Best. He and his partner, Josh Johnson, ran a sister store in Eugene, Oregon. And Brandon drove up that night to...
By the way, Brandon still retains ownership of the Eugene store. This store in Eugene, Oregon, last reports I'd seen, he still has ownership of this store. And leave us not forget, Bricks and Minifigs put out a public newsletter saying that they have severed ties with both Josh and Brandon. Yet Brandon still owns, to my knowledge, the Eugene store in Oregon. So if that is correct and he still has ownership of it, then they lied. And they have not separated from Brandon. Josh, to my knowledge, may or may not have any stake in any of the other stores, but there's a protest at the Eugene store too. I'm not surprised, because supposedly Brandon was no longer a part of the Bricks and Minifigs company, which means he should not be the owner of this Eugene store. But the last record that I've heard, he still is. So that means Bricks and Minifigs, again, has lied.
In Eugene, Oregon, and Brandon drove up that night to kick the Gormans out. Brandon and Josh would be taking over the franchise in Salem, and this is the exact moment
I gotta point out,
Brandon and Josh would be taking over the franchise in Salem.
Like, I've seen a lot of like YouTubers that have gone over Ben's videos where they've seen his original video, where they've watched like the leaked footage. I'm still surprised none of them recognized the behavior of Josh to basically indicate that he may be under the influence of narcotics. Because when we watched the video, the first thing that stuck out to my mind is all of Josh's like physiological behaviors, all of his little quirks and tics. Instantly was jumping out to me like this fucker is tweaking. He is either tweaking or he is in withdrawal or something. I'm legitimately surprised no one, not Leaflet, not Asmongold, not Kirsche, no one noticed. Like, this guy was fucking tweaking the whole time he was talking with the police officers, which also goes into the theory of why is it, that they are so eager to point at other people and go, they have heroin. They did that false tip about Ben saying he has heroin in his car. There was the false report there was the false statement made that Crystal was like basically using the Salem store to support her heroin habit. They are very quick to be basically pointing the heroin finger at everyone else when it's thus far, Josh is the one person that basically has exhibited the physiological signs of being under the influence of a narcotic like heroin. Quite frankly, I'm really surprised none of the other YouTubers that have watched watched the video footage of it have said a word. I've not seen anyone say one word about Josh's basically tweaker-like behavior, the way he was behaving during that police interaction. It's honestly really surprising.
And this is the exact moment the Legos go missing. As that store is getting handed over, the question is Brian's collection in it? Here's what the official Bricks and Minifigs press release reads. Quote, after taking over the store, we discovered a small number of sets valued between $2,000 to $5,000 that could be possibly related to Mr. Mansell's collection. But there's a problem here. There should be over 10 times that amount in this store, given their internal records and what we know the estimated value of this collection was. So if corporate's saying there was only $2,000 to $5,000 in the store, something happened to these Legos. But what? In order to solve this case, let's think about the suspects.
Wait. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think of this. Did they move a bunch of the Legos from the Salem store to Brandon's Eugene store? And they were trying to sell them out of the Eugene store? And that's where a bunch of those missing Lego sets went to? The other store that Brandon owns? Could that be it? Yeah, I feel so stupid that I didn't even think about that before. Granted, I only knew he had the Eugene store a couple days ago. I only found out about that a couple days ago, so I wouldn't have even thought of that previously. But yeah, so did they take like half the Lego sets and move them to his Eugene store? Did they take the majority of Lego sets, move them to the Eugene store, and then go, well, we don't know where your Lego sets are. That's all on Crystal. You blame her. She fucked up her reporting. When again, we saw that video footage of her going, I've got, you need these notes. You know what to pay this man out. And they were just like, yeah, don't worry about that. That's our problem now.
First, who was there that night of the handover? It's only 3 people. Crystal and Ben Gorman, the former franchise owners, and Brandon Best, one of the new owners. These are our 3 biggest suspects, but they aren't the only ones. I want to address a few other suspects at the very start here. First of all, maybe this is just all the result of, plain old thieves breaking in. What about that possibility?
Hi, I am Chris.
No. No, because if there were thieves, then there would be police reports, and the insurance for the business would presumably take care of that, and then whatever the insurance pays out for the Lego sets, they could just pay to Brian Mansell. So that would not work. It's not like they would even need to hide it. They're a business. They have insurance. They have insurance in the event of theft. So if thieves broke in, stole the Lego sets, and made off with them, all they'd have to do is file a police report, file with their insurance company. Their insurance company would give them a payout. They could give the payout to Brian. End of story, and there would be no problem. So there you go. Instantaneously, I can debunk that.
Was the previous franchise owner who signed the collection agreement with Brian Mansell. And I'm Benjamin Gorman. I am the silent partner who's really bad at being silent.
We did have a couple of break-ins at the store. None of Brian's collections were in the police report or stolen during those.
Okay, so the Gormans say
There you
in
go. What did I say? What did I say? There you go.
emphatically it wasn't thieves, but if that's the case, what about the guy who was arrested? I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Reckless Ben. This is the YouTuber who started it all. With a documentary, I tracked down the thief who stole $200,000 of Lego. Maybe it's the perfect crime. Make a video tracking yourself. Now, for our theory, it's worth noting Ben is currently facing a RICO lawsuit by Bricks and Minifigs. He was even targeted with a search warrant for stolen Legos.
Included in the warrant are Legos.
The owner reported overhearing conversations.
And again, this was a search warrant, not an arrest warrant. So why did they arrest everybody? They did not have, the police department did not have an arrest warrant. They had a search warrant. There's never been any mention of an arrest warrant. So when they arrested Ben, when they conducted that search warrant, they basically violated the Fourth Amendment. And they conducted a unlawful seizure of him, basically. They deprived him of his freedom when they did not have a warrant for his arrest, and they did not have in any way any probable cause to arrest any of them when they basically swatted him. There was zero probable cause for an arrest, and the warrant that they had was search, not arrest. That is a very, very clear distinction in types of warrants. You cannot arrest someone based strictly on a search warrant, especially if you are not finding anything incriminating. If they had a search warrant for Legos and they found no Legos, then they had zero reason to facilitate an arrest.
About possible stolen Legos.
And on top of that, Reckless Ben was even accused of stealing the Legos by the current franchise owner.
I stole the Legos?
What do you think of the theory that it was Reckless Ben? He stole the Legos.
It's absurd. We didn't even know Reckless Ben. He had no interaction, no relation to us, no relation.
What's a RICO lawsuit? A RICO lawsuit? Oh God, that's a terrible pause. I'm gonna get that. I don't want the pause to have her just going. A RICO lawsuit is basically it's the type of law that was used, or the type of criminal prosecution that was used against the mob. It is basically used for like criminal racketeering. And there's both a criminal variant and a civil variant, and they're going after Ben with the civil variant of the RICO racketeering corruption type of lawsuit.
Theory that it was Reckless Ben. He stole the Legos.
It's absurd. We didn't even know Reckless Ben. He had no interaction, no relation to us, no relation to the store. That doesn't hold any water.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Apologies to the genius cops in Utah who play different.
We play differently here.
But I don't believe that Reckless Ben stole the Lego, mostly because he couldn't. He just wasn't there that night, and I don't even think he knew about these Legos. But who does Ben suspect is holding the Legos, since he did this whole documentary series?
The guy who runs the entire company, Ammon McNeff, he personally came out to talk to us.
So what's going on?
So you guys are holding some of our Legos?
No, we're not.
You're not?
No.
Is that a lie?
No.
That's a lie. You did take the Legos.
No. So we have, our attorneys have visited, but like, again, so who's
Brian Mansell.
Okay, and
Notice how he was stumbling right there. Well, where our attorneys? He was like, there is a moment where words are hard. God knows I'm aware of this. I fucking stumble over my own tongue all the time. And then there's, okay, what can I say to not incriminate myself right now? Tripping over your own words. That right there was falling all over himself, while also simultaneously trying to figure out what can he say and not say to not incriminate himself.
who is that?
He's a guy who had he had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your guys' store.
Nope. Never happened.
My name is Ammon McNeff. I am the CEO of the Bricks and Minifigs brand.
So my name's Matt McNeff. I'm the COO of Bricks and Minifigs.
The people you just saw are the McNeff brothers. They agreed to speak with me to try to clear their name. I asked
And by the way, supposedly, I haven't looked into this too much. I am suspicious of it. Somebody tagged me on Twitter about a post that was made that supposedly Matt and Anon McNeff have been in and out of court for a lot of shit, supposedly. I have not dug into it too much, and I am suspicious of the individual that posted it on Twitter. But supposedly there is these two guys have been in and out of court for a lot of shit. There's probably several dozen court filings involving the two of them, and supposedly their father as well, and the father may also be shady. I don't know. Maybe Coffee will actually, maybe he'll dig into that at some point into this about, their history. But apparently there may be a lot of shady shit going on with the McNeff family as a whole.
Do they have the Legos?
What I can tell you is that we don't have it. We've never had access to them.
It seems to kind of go missing. Parts of it seem to go missing on November 14th.
Well, and I guess no, not at all. I'm going to say, that is not accurate.
What were you about to say?
Because
so you think that the collection was in the store at the time or elsewhere?
Elsewhere. When you look at Mansell's own words that he reiterated to a podcast last year, he explicitly stated to another podcaster, the sets were moved off-site for security.
The collection will not be stored on site after hours for security reasons, and after Sunday, the sets will be available for purchase but stored elsewhere.
Okay, that's not that they're not kept in the store. That is after hours for security reasons. So, yeah, the collection will be available for sale immediately, so the best time for pictures will be Saturday morning. The collection will not be stored on site after hours for security reasons, and after Sunday, the sets will be available for purchase but stored elsewhere. Okay.
Now, one thing that's been a big subject of the Bricks and Minifigs kind of story is, hey, there are these off-site locations. Can you address?
Even if we were to give benefit of the doubt that they were storing them off-site for security reasons. No, not on-site, off, O-F-F. He said they will be, the collection will not be stored on-site after hours for security reasons. So, yeah, and after Sunday, the sets will be available for purchase but stored elsewhere. So, the collection will be on display in the store's party room from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Saturday, November 11th and 11th. So they were going to have it on display for viewing on these 2 days. Afterwards, they were going to store all of them off-site somewhere else. So they would be kept off-site afterwards for security reasons. Again, that still doesn't make a difference. Even if they're being stored off-site, they are still the store is still in possession of these Legos. Just because they are not stored within the store proper does not mean they are not still within the business's possession if they are storing it at an off-site facility. So it doesn't matter. If it's stored on-site or off-site, it's still within the store's possession.
One thing that's been a big subject of the Bricks and Minifigs kind of story is, hey, there are these off-site locations. Can you address what that is? Is that true?
So the off-site location in the letter that that corporate is referring to is the original press release that we released when we were launching the collection. In that press release, because we had previous break-ins, I specifically included the location that after this weekend, those Legos would be stored off-site to deter any future thefts. They were briefly stored off-site after that launch weekend while I bought safes for the back room, and then they were moved back into the store.
Okay, so for most of the time, the sets were in the store after y'all got the safes in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ammon McNeff suspects that a lot of the Legos weren't there that night. And then on the other hand, we just heard from Crystal and Ben Gorman explaining the off-site story, saying that later they no longer used those off-site locations. But what do we really know about the Gormans? They are the former franchise owners after all. I mean, shouldn't we be suspicious of everyone? They're one of our key suspects. They were there the night we lost Brian's collection. They were the creators of the consignment deal after all. And one group in particular is pointing their finger at them very hard. It's the McNeffs who say they were behind on payments.
We started getting calls from the landlord letting us know that Crystal was behind on the lease payments at the location. We had also gotten a couple of...
Where's the evidence? Every word that comes out of this guy's mouth, I want evidence to back it up. Because I do not believe a single word that exits out of this man's mouth. He has been deceptive from moment one of every video we've seen in regards to this story. So unless he has evidence to substantiate it, a call from the landlord and some kind of communication with the landlord saying behind on payments, I don't believe him. Flat out, I do not believe a thing that he says without some kind of tangible evidence.
Of notices from some of our vendor partners that bills had not been paid by the store, and so we felt pretty strongly that there was going to be a risk of her just, like attempting to file bankruptcy, doing some of these other types of things which we've had franchisees do in the past, and that's problematic. So that's why we sent.
So if you've had the landlord, if you've had the merchandisers reaching out to you claiming this, then surely they would have sent you documentation for this, right? Right? You would have had documentation saying, hey, this is happening. You would have that, right? To show that you're not lying, right?
I'm up there to take some video footage. So we needed to just be prepared if we needed to do a hostile takeover, which, can happen in franchising where a franchise owner just, kind of tries to steal inventory and do some different things that way.
Okay, so Bricks and Minifig's story is that they were worried about the Gormans skipping town, so they sent Brandon Best as a secret shopper on October 24th, 2024. This is weeks before the takeover. Brandon takes a video of the store condition in preparation for this handover, but at this point, Brandon does not announce himself to Crystal Gorman. Later, though, on November 14th, once again, the same concern about the Gormans stealing or theft was expressed by the McNeffs.
Brandon was trying to make sure that they weren't taking things from the store, and so he was kind of trying to make sure that he wasn't putting things, like hiding things in the back, and that and while he was watching that, trying to make sure Ben wasn't grabbing stuff from the store and moving it or doing anything along those lines, because he just got a weird feeling about the whole transition.
Brandon, the guy that is behind all this, the guy who was told about the consignment, and we're just like, yeah, that's my responsibility now. Yeah, we're supposed to trust him. Sure. Oh, yeah. The guy that Bricks and Minifigs put out a public letter saying that Josh and Brandon are no longer going to be part of the company, which again was a lie because Brandon still owns the Eugene store as far as I'm aware. So we're just supposed to trust that Brandon is a great guy that would never do anything crooked or scammy. Sure. Where's your receipts, my guy? Without any receipts, I don't believe you. Everything you've done up to this point is crooked. Everything we've seen you do up to this point is crooked as fuck. And I don't believe a word that you're saying.
Took at least one, if not more than one, cartfuls of things out to her car with her coat draped over it.
So yeah, the McNeffs...
Wait, what did he just say?
Transition.
She took at least one, if not more than one, cartfuls of things out to her car with her coat draped over it.
Where's the proof of that? Where's the proof that she's taken items out to her car? See, here's the now, if they're lying about Crystal now would have a beautiful slander lawsuit. Or a beautiful defamation lawsuit, because now they are defaming this woman if they are lying, and they have, especially if they have no proof, and they're publicly saying that this woman stole God knows how many pieces of merchandise from the store. They're literally labeling her as a thief. She now would have a beautiful defamation lawsuit if they have no footage. And yes, they do. There are security cameras. So where's the security footage of showing this? Where is Where is the like? There's security cameras all over the place. You would see her basically piling shit up into a cart where the security cameras are located and pushing them out to her car. So where's that footage? You're claiming that she's stealing shit. There's footage. There's cameras all over the store. Where's the video footage of this?
So yeah, the McNeffs say, look, they don't trust the Gormans, and they explained it, even further. They said, hey, there's some issues in her past.
She apparently has a retail theft and other criminal arrests on her record that we were not aware of.
When was that?
I don't know. This has been brought out by several people online now.
No.
He heard it on Twitter. He heard it online that she has a history of retail theft. His sources, I made it the fuck up. Tamu, the first fucking rule of the internet is you don't trust the fucking internet. This is the first, especially Twitter, because I guarantee you he got it from Twitter. I guarantee you he got it from Twitter or Reddit. And he's saying, oh, I saw a post about this, so of course it must be true. And that's his source of, oh, she's got a history of retail theft. The funniest part is Coffee's interview here. Coffee's investigation is now opening up the CEOs of Bricks and Minifigs to potential defamation. If he's just like, I saw it online, and so I'm saying she has a history of retail theft, or she has a history of theft. If this does not bear out, and she has zero criminal history, he just opened himself up to a massive defamation suit.
Now look, that's a huge accusation to bring up, and so obviously I wanted to talk to the Gormans about it.
They're like, she has a history of some type of burglary, theft.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, that's what they're
saying.
Yeah.
Oh. Nope. Well, yes.
Well,
you
explain.
know about this.
Explain.
Yeah, when I was 19 years old.
How long ago is that?
I am 45 now. So this was in 1999. This, something that happened.
Still, okay. So it's 19. So when she was 19 years old, I'm guessing it was probably maybe retail theft. So this was 30 years ago. I still think she would have a case for defamation by him doing that because he is purporting it. Was it shoplifting? Okay, so retail theft. Shoplifting is retail theft. So she had a retail theft, misdemeanor retail theft for shoplifting when she was 19. And Anand is making it sound like this is recent, like she has a long history of this. So, I wonder if she is now going to be filing for defamation. I have to wonder if she is now going to be looking at filing a civil suit against Anand for defamation for this. Because they've already said that they kicked her out because of a heroin habit. They have already made the statements publicly that they did the hostile takeover because she was using the store to support a heroin habit, and that there was pigeon shit all over, there was pigeon shit all over the store. They've already made defamatory statements about her already towards a character, and now they're also saying she's a career thief. This company is I do not think I have ever seen a corporation speed run failure as fast as Bricks and Minifigs. I think they said that they literally said she was using the Bricks and Minifigs store to support a heroin habit. Yeah, they specifically said Crystal. It was Crystal that was using the store to support a heroin habit. Oh yeah. This is a fascinating case study of how fast a corporation can just kill their entire business.
Happened 25 years ago has no reflection and no bearing on what happened in the last 2 years, my management of the store, what happened the night corporate seized the store. It is another deflection. And it infuriates me. You're gonna try to publicly embarrass and shame me for somebody that was manipulated by local police departments when she was pregnant and 19 years old? Fuck you. That's my response to that. I am so sorry. You're gonna have to blur and cut a lot of this, but that pisses me off. I own what I have done. I own the mistakes that I have made. You cannot intimidate and bully me into backing down when I know that legally and morally I am in the right and I have the evidence to back it up.
Wow.
She was the franchisee of the Brits and Minifig store in Salem. She was the one that initiated the contract with Brian Mansell for the consignment order for the Legos. She was the one that initiated it, and then Brits and Minifigs, along with Brandon Best, and came in and did a hostile takeover and kicked her out of the store, and then it facilitated multiple lies, like she is a career thief, a career criminal. They've said that she is using the profits from the store to support a heroin habit, and also that the store was filthy with pigeon shit everywhere.
This is getting kind of nasty and personal at this point, and I just wanted to give people kind of their side. But at every turn, I hope you understand, I'm getting contradictory stories, down to if the McNeffs knew about her history in the first place.
Like, they're bringing up something that I told them about.
Wait, you told them?
Told them. They asked me.
They said they had no idea. They said if we knew, we would have never hired her.
Because we would not have hired her had we known this.
I told them I had a record from when I was 18. There was a family issue that, and didn't go into all of the details, but they were like, that's so long ago, we're gonna hire you based on who you are now.
Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. You guys can make up your own mind. My point is, one side says up, the other says down, and it gets to the point both sides start hinting that they have photographic proof from the night of November 14th that proves the other side is lying. And so I'm like, look, at this point, let's stop talking. Show me the Legos.
Where I was told we are 100% have possession of photos that prove that the Gormans are lying. And then you guys are telling me we 100% have possession of photos that prove this side's lying. Who's gonna drop the photos first? I mean, I feel like someone just has to, somebody's right here.
And after a lot of convincing, both sides agreed to show me the photos, corporate and the Gormans. In fact, I scheduled the calls to do this an hour apart from each other. But let's remember their positions for a second. The Gormans say whatever was left unsold of Brian's collection that was in that store spreadsheet was in Salem store the night of November 14th. Then you have corporate side. They say whatever was left that night was maybe $2,000 to $5,000 of Legos. The rest was either stolen by thieves, the Gormans, or held off site. It was not in that store. And on both sides, there's a lot to lose here, right? You've got the Gormans, who basically have been insinuated to have been stealing. And for Josh and Brandon, too, the new franchise owners, there's a lot on the line. I reached out to Josh, and he told me, I think her pictures would only show a few sets and minifigs. I replied, so if I can prove that the Lego sets were in the store, that will prove Brandon was lying? Josh replies, if it shows something different, then yes, I will eat my words. So the stakes have been established. Let's see the evidence, starting with Matt McNeff. First, he showed me the video, October 24th, 2024, for a baseline of how the store looked.
So this is the Salem Kaiser location, is that correct?
It's the Salem Kaiser location, yes.
So is it fair to say I'm seeing quite a few Legos here? I mean, I'm seeing a store of Legos. You'd agree?
There's a good amount of Lego on hand. This isn't what I would say.
This is the video footage that Brandon took as a mystery shopper when he was scoping out the store.
It's a well-stocked Bricks and Minifigs, but it's not terrible. It's I would say a little below average as far as overall stock. So now let's go to November 14th. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So November 14th, when Brandon was in there helping.
Wait, this is the day. This is like the big day.
This is the day.
Hold on, I gotta prep myself emotionally for this.
Okay.
This is a big deal. This is D-Day. This is the big moment. This is Brandon takes over the store.
That first footage was October 24th. This one is November, I think he said it was November 11th when they did the takeover. So that first footage, hang on, let me see if I can scrub it back. Yeah, this first footage was October 24th. So I don't know if it was. I don't know if we saw a timestamp in the date in the footage itself, but there's an overlay that says October 24th, 2024, Brandon Best's secret footage.
We don't know where the Legos are after this moment.
We don't know where the Legos are after this moment. And I want to point out again that we've had this for a while. We haven't put. This is the first time we've shown this publicly. We've been waiting for our attorneys to give us the approval to say, hey, this is okay now to share in this capacity. So,
wait.
This will.
Wait. This is the first time you've been able to show it publicly, and you're showing it to Coffeezilla for the first time. That, instead of doing a public showing of basically saying, look, world, here's our proof, we're going to show it to Coffeezilla, the internet's premier investigator, first. Sounds kinda sus, my guy, that you're gonna do that instead of, like, you're already behind the 8 ball on public opinion right now, and you're not gonna immediately, as soon as the lawyers say go for it, basically do a public post on your own forum to go, look, here's the video footage showing that we're right, and you're gonna go to Coffee first instead? I don't know.
We'll go through these pictures. This is what Josh saw, or not Josh, sorry, Brandon saw. He took pictures of everything in the store, all the inventory in the store. This is what the shelves looked like compared to what you just saw a moment ago.
Okay, so I'm seeing a lot less. Just to state the obvious, go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, remember, she said that they put them in safes, that she had gotten safes to put into the back of the store to store, because the takeover happened after hours. Don't forget that. And she had said that they have safes to put Brian Mansell's collection into during after hours, for security reasons. So they after, when closing was done, they would take Brian's Lego kits and put them into safes in the back that she had purchased for the store, specifically to store his devices, his Legos. So all of these empty spaces could have been those Legos in the safe in the back. Now, we'll see if we're going to actually see those safes in the images.
I'm seeing like way less.
So yeah, the pictures I was being shown on November 14th, those shelves looked emptier than they did on the day of October 24th. But to be fair to the Gormans, they addressed the empty shelves themselves.
As we get to the very end of this video in particular, right here, you'll see that empty space right here. So this is the retired and certified set section that we have to keep separate from the new in box current sets being sold by Lego. All those empty spaces up there were the sets that we had on display during the day from Brian's collection that every night when the store closed, we pulled off and put back into the safe.
What did I say? What did I say? It's almost kind of like I'm a little bit smart about this kind of thing, huh? What did I fucking say? Fucking called it.
And then put back out in the morning.
So when they say, see, there's empty space on the shelves, yeah, because we put them in safes at night to keep them safe.
Because we have giant windows.
Yeah, it's an explanation that kind of makes sense given the history of burglary. Now, of course, this is something I had to ask the McNeffs about.
Is this a case of, did y'all see Star Wars sets in the back? Did y'all not see the Star Wars sets in the back? Did he take, not in the back, but specifically in a safe? Like there were a bunch of Star Wars sets in a safe. Did Brandon see those? Has there been talk of those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. My understanding is that he took pictures of everything, and all those photos I showed you of the Star Wars were all the photos, or was literally all the Star Wars inventory in the store.
Did you hear that right there? I'm going to back that up. Listen to him again. He just tried to give himself an out. He just basically did corporate/legal speak to try and give himself an out. Listen again.
Has there been talk of those? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. My understanding is that he took pictures.
Yeah, right there. That was his way of trying to distance himself from Brandon legally by saying, to my understanding, he took photos of everything. So if it turns out that Brandon was lying, perhaps on behalf of the McNeffs, we don't know for sure. He, in this interview, if this interview comes up and they say, he can say, well, as I said, to my understanding, if Brandon lied, maybe Brandon lied to me about the photos that he took. So that was him trying to legally distance himself from Brandon's malfeasance.
Pictures of everything, and all those photos I showed you of the Star Wars were all the photos, or was literally all the Star Wars inventory in the store.
Yeah, the McNeffs say all of the photos should be with Brandon of all the Star Wars items. And to be fair to them, they showed me a lot more pictures and even showed me a spreadsheet of all the Star Wars sets in the store the night Brandon took it over. And it valued to about like $5,000 to $10,000 or so. But then I had to ask.
Oh, sorry, here's another kind of set.
Okay.
Do you think y'all have all of these?
Very likely.
Okay.
Very likely.
Again, I'd be surprised if we didn't.
But then I couldn't help myself. I started to bring up some of Crystal's photos.
But by the way, one thing I do want to point out, this spreadsheet where they're saying it's valued at $10,000, that's what they have priced it at. So could they have downplayed the pricing of the Lego sets? Of Brian's. Like, that is another factor that's involved. They've been trying to lessen the value of Brian's Lego set, saying, oh, we valued it at lesser than that. That's why they slashed the value from $200,000 to $100,000. So this $10,000, how do we know this is the real number of what the Lego sets are actually valued at? Yeah, like Brian said that the collection is valued at $200,000. Now, in full disclosure, we don't know how he came up with that number. No idea how Brian came up with the number of that the sets are valued at $200,000. But then also, we don't know if Bricks and Minifigs deliberately tried to downplay the value, saying, oh, we got them valued and they're actually less, which also leads into a whole other question. Is, did they tell Brian, oh, they are of less value, so that way they can sell them at a higher price, claim that they're of a less value, and therefore they can try and keep more money? Like, they slashed the value, like, they told Brian, oh, your Lego sets are valued by half of what you actually said. They price them at the value that they're supposed to be, but according to the red sheets, they can say, okay, yeah, it only sold at that half price, so we're going to take our cut, we'll give you the rest. And then there's that chunk of change from the half that they didn't talk about, that they still sold it for, that maybe they're pocketing it and basically cooking out their books to basically taking in more money than they're actually recording. That's a possibility.
But then I had to ask.
Oh, sorry, here's another kind of set.
Okay.
Do you think y'all have all of these?
Very likely.
Okay.
Again, I'd be surprised if we didn't.
But then I couldn't help myself. I started to bring up some of Crystal's photos to see if they matched up.
Have you seen this before?
Not that I recall.
So, do you see that?
Yep.
So do you see it's in like some kind of like a safe thing? I don't know if you can see the sides there.
Looks like a bookshelf to me, but sure.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I think the important thing is making sure that all of these are in the inventory for Mansell.
Sure. That's cool.
75041.
Yep. The Vulture Droid.
75169.
169 I'm not seeing, so there may be... Okay, so there's one that is not on our list.
Let's try this. 10240.
Okay, nope, not seeing that one either.
What about 9?
Starting to see a lot of missing ones.
493.
3. I don't see that one either. So...
And then... Oh goodness, there's a lot of Lego sets that are missing from your inventory, isn't there? How very interesting.
Maybe those were locked at the time, and Brandon did not get those pictures.
All right, that's kind of a problem because the Gormans had over 200 photos of this store. I definitely knew looking at these photos, there's a lot more Legos in the Gorman's photos, by quite a lot that Brandon's photos just didn't show. But corporate didn't really see it that way.
But still, in the grand scheme of things, we're not talking, again, 10 times the amount of sets here.
I don't know. I haven't shown all the photos yet. I don't know exactly how much.
If there's a calculable figure that we can look at and say, great, this is what was there, I promise you it's not $100,000 worth of Lego. And so where's the rest of it? You got me. I don't know.
There's at least $90,000 worth of a customer's Lego sets missing, and he's just like, I don't know. I don't know. What are we doing? What are we doing? He's just blowing it off like, I don't know, but no big deal. Any legit businessman, when they are being told and shown evidence that there is supposed to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like $90,000 worth of Lego sets there that your own guy didn't get in the photos, but there's photographic evidence that they were there, as a businessman, you should be shitting yourself going, this is a fucking problem. This is a lot of merchandise. This is a lot of product that we are responsible for that is missing. And with loss prevention and with shrink, this is like huge. And a real business owner would be going, yeah, this is a major fucking problem. We need to look into this. But he's just like, oh, I don't know. No idea. Oopsie poopsie, we did a fucky wucky.
Maybe I'm a little too in my head about this U-Haul story. You don't think it could have been some U-Haul thing? There's no way.
Oh, yeah. Have we talked about the U-Haul yet? We gotta talk about the U-Haul for a second. This is another one of those things that was like really disputed between the two parties. Was this U-Haul that supposedly was driven up to the store the night of the takeover?
So
it blinks. Hello, Raiders over on Kick. Welcome in. Welcome in. How was your stream? I hope you had a great stream. You are catching us right in the middle of Coffeezilla's investigation into the bricks and minifigs situation. And we have been seeing a great deal of info that is not painting bricks and minifigs in a very good light, and it in fact is painting them as liars and as slanderers, because they have slandered and defamed the previous franchisee owner of the Salem minifig store. And we've only just got started. We're only 18 minutes into like an hour-long video. They were supposed, yes, they stole a man's like entire Lego collection valued supposedly at $200,000. They claim that it's worth less than that. It's worth $100,000. That's a whole different thing. And it's like, it's gone into a YouTuber, Reckless Ben, reached out to try and help the guy to figure out what happened with the Legos. That basically spiraled into potential corporate corruption, police corruption, because they followed the franchisee owners back to their home state of Utah to continue with their investigation. And it basically made it seems like maybe the Bricks and Minifigs company has the American Fork Police Department in their pocket. We'd be like that. Like this guy, Reckless Ben, was just trying to figure out where these $200,000 worth of Legos are, and he has stumbled into massive amounts of corporate and police corruption. And now Coffeezilla is doing his own investigation. So far, we're only dealing with the previous franchisee owner and the CEO and COO of Bricks and Minifigs. But already, the Bricks and Minifigs guys are saying shit that is either outright lies or is all sorts of fuckery. And it's getting good. It's getting really good.
U-Haul that supposedly was driven up to the store the night of the takeover.
So when Brandon came to the store that night, he was driving a U-Haul truck.
Now, in typical fashion, this was immediately disputed.
Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. When he came to get the keys from Crystal, he was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
It wasn't until after he told me he was taking the keys and locking me out that I really kind of paid attention to the fact that he had a large, not the small, the large U-Haul truck.
So yeah, I just kept hearing about this U-Haul truck. Now, why is it significant, U-Haul or not? Well, one, a U-Haul truck can fit a lot of Legos, but the big reason it mattered to me was because I was actually called by an ex-employee of the Bricks and Minifix store in Eugene, Oregon. Remember, that's the one that Brandon and Josh owned, and he told me something very interesting.
I'm a former employee, started in 2024, and I was working under the old manager.
Wait, hang on. Oh, wait. Eugene Baker Bricks Inc. in Eugene. Okay, so former employee. Okay, so he was at the Eugene store.
2024, and I was working under the old manager Brian, and he sold the store to Brandon Best and Josh.
What store was this? Bricks and Minifigs where?
Eugene.
Okay, now what did you see that made you want to talk to me?
I saw Reckless Ben's YouTube video about the Salem store closing down because when I was talking to my co-workers about the situation about Salem, and what we were told through other employees that it was just a bad area to work in. It was like haunted, if you will, is what was going around. But after seeing the video of Reckless Ben, he exposed them, and it makes a lot more sense with what we dealt with Brandon and Josh. Like, oh, Crystal stole Lego sets and bolted out of the country.
Who says that?
Brandon Best told us. When he
With
was dropping off all the Lego sets to us that night. It was a bunch of used Lego sets. Sets that were like saran wrap. They had Star Wars CD. They had just a lot of stuff. It was like a medium-sized U-Haul truck.
Wait, they brought a U-Haul truck.
Yeah, from Salem to Eugene.
And to Eugene, and it had a bunch of Star Wars sets on it?
Yeah, Star Wars sets, like everything. A bunch of used stuff too.
Wait, when and was this when they took over the store from Crystal?
I believe so, yes. Yes, because he said that Crystal stole Legos and left the country.
While he has a U-Haul of Legos?
Yeah.
Interesting.
What the fuck?
Weird.
And he said, we're just going to hold on to this stuff until corporate tells us where we have to distribute it. And we're like, oh, well, it'd make more sense if we could take it because we're kind of struggling with, the product we put on the shelves.
Oh my gosh. We really got to find out. Was
the
there a
hell?
U-Haul that night or not? Because everybody's disagreeing about it. This Eugene, Oregon guy says, oh yeah, a U-Haul showed up with Star Wars sets in it. Brandon was talking about the Salem store. You've got Matt McNeff saying there was no U-Haul there. It was a rental car. You've got Crystal saying, yeah, I thought it was really weird. There was a U-Haul truck there. So I told the McNeffs, I really got to find out what the truth is here.
If you know anything about it, let me know, because that's just something I heard.
I do, and it has nothing to do with the Salem store. Well, at least not the Salem store in the way that it is there. Brandon showed up to the Salem store in a rental car. When he came to get the keys from Crystal, he was there in a rental car, not in a U-Haul.
So when there was the handoff, there wasn't a U-Haul, it was a rental car.
Correct. He was there in a rental car.
Got it.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
And I think any of the...
And I don't think Coffee does either. That little... Listen to Coffee.
Got
Listen
it.
to Coffee.
Okay.
Coffee doesn't believe him either. He doesn't. Yeah, there should be security footage. You're right. Theoretically, you might not see, and depending on where the vehicle is parked and depending upon the angles of the camera, you would see them if they were toting Lego sets out of the store. That would be security footage, unless they deleted it. Unless they deleted that security footage, which is a possibility. I could see them trying to cover their tracks by deleting their security footage. So that's entirely possible that they did that. So there would be no security footage. Like, you have to remember, this company and everybody involved in it, let me rephrase. The corporation and Brandon and Josh are corrupt as fuck. They are 100% corrupt as fuck. So I don't believe anything that they say. And the way he's talking, no, he pulled up in a rental car, and you literally have Crystal saying he shows up in a U-Haul. You have a former employee of Brandon's other store saying that night he showed up with a U-Haul full of fucking Lego products. Yeah, I'm sorry, 2 witnesses are better than 1 liar.
And I think any of the, like, if you were to look at the footage, the Ring cameras, all that stuff, you won't see a U-Haul sitting anywhere in the parking lot.
So after hearing all of this, I realized, look, I just gotta find the evidence. So I start sifting through these photos I have, right? I realize I have a parking lot photo. I check it. No U-Haul, just a red truck out there. I check another photo where you could see the window, but the problem is it's night outside, so you can't see. And so I'm looking at everything I can.
Yeah, because look at this. Okay, hang on.
I just gotta find the evidence. So I start sifting through these
hang
photos
on.
I have, right?
Give me a
I
second.
realize I have a parking lot photo. I check it. No.
Okay, but look at the time of day. Look, the time of day here doesn't match up the time. This is still like dusk. If it was still dusk, you would have been able to see out the windows. Even, you know, the sun was not so low. So this is an earlier photo than the other one. And not to mention, there's a whole lot of freaking parking lot over here. Not here. This is the end of the parking lot. You have a shit ton of parking lot space all the way over here. And if you look at the other photo coming up,
I check another photo where you could see the window.
this is full night. Totally different times of day. That first photo was not when the takeover happened. When that first photo that was taken was probably, I'm going to hazard guess if it was October, probably about an hour before the takeover. The sun doesn't go down that fucking fast for them to do this takeover. He came in, took shit, and left. It didn't happen that fast. So, this is probably an hour, maybe 2 hours later when this photo was taken. And yeah, it's nighttime, not to mention, there's a shit ton of parking over here. So
the problem is, it's night outside, so you can't
No, it's just
see.
night. It's
so
not
I'm looking at everything I can, and there's just nothing, you know? I have this alternate angle, I'm looking at that, and then, wait a minute. Gotcha, bitch!
Would you look at that? That looks an awful lot like a U-Haul truck, doesn't it? Well, shit.
Zoom in on that photo. Bring up the brightness of this photo a little bit, and
what do you know?
Oh my gosh, there's a U-Haul in the parking lot right outside of the store the night of November 14th, 2024. This is something that Matt said he had seen footage of, and it couldn't be true.
And again, I believe I have seen footage from that night that shows clearly out into the parking lot, and there's no U-Haul.
After seeing this, I said,
Shocking! The corrupt COO of the Bricks and Minifigs Corporation lied. Shocking! This is so good. Oh, Coffee, I love you. I love Coffee. Oh my God, this is amazing.
I really have to make a call. And that's when the story changed. So last night, I talked with Matt McNeff. I brought up this question of the U-Haul. He told me emphatically there was no U-Haul. Y'all came to me this morning. You said, hey, we looked into it. There actually was a U-Haul there that night. Can you clear up what that's about?
So there's actually two different things that are going on here, just to help you understand.
So that finishes the phone call, calls his brother and goes, listen, they know about the U-Haul. We need to figure something out. And so they probably spent the next 12 fucking hours trying to come up with the bullshit story that he's about to vomit up.
And I don't know if you want this particular.
Wait, I just tuned in. The former franchise holder and her husband are in part in fault since they did not pay dues and ran the shop to the ground. They also got taken over when they decided to go overseas so the husband could print literal. Okay, ignore the last part. Okay, I don't give a shit about that last part. So first and foremost, yes, Crystal was talking about she mentioned that in Ben's first video about going overseas. She had mentioned that, but where is the evidence? Like they said that in this video too, that supposedly she was not paying the rent, and there was a problem with like paying for the supply and everything. Where's the evidence? Where is the evidence to substantiate that? If the evidence is I saw it on the fucking internet, bye-bye. That's not evidence. Because they've already tried to pull the evidence of, well, she's a bad person because she's got a record. Because I saw people talking on the internet about how she has a criminal record of thievery and she's a career criminal. So you want to say, oh, she isn't paid dues and ran the shop into the ground. Evidence. As so far, there has been zero fucking evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that she's been running the store into the ground. None. So unless you are aware of some evidence that I am not aware of, or that Coffeezilla is not aware of, please feel free to share. The couple of video that showed such crap about them promoting. Okay, no, shit, stop. We're not here for that. I give less. Let me make this nice and sparkling clear. I do not give a flying fuck about their politics. Their politics is 1,000% immaterial. We are dealing with criminality and corruption. Their personal politics means precisely dick. Okay? Has no bearing whatsoever. Okay? And as far as the evidence we have to see at the court, exactly. Which means there's no evidence to substantiate that she, quote unquote, ran it into the ground. There is absolutely no evidence, financially or otherwise, to substantiate that claim. So if it's, I heard it on the internet, it's the same thing as, I made it the fuck up. Point blank. The only ones that said she did a bad job with it are the corporation from Bricks and Miniface, and they are already proven to be liars and corrupt. So why the fuck should I believe anything that they say? Corporate leadership is still a fault. The issue, though, is a separate case. The franchise holder, since the leadership team got stolen from the old man. Yes! Agreed. That is a separate case. But again, the whole thing of, oh, she ran the store into the ground, we have yet to see, since this whole thing started, other than Bricks and Minifigs simply just saying she did a bad job, because don't forget, Bricks and Miniface also made the claim that Crystal was using the store to fund a heroin habit, and that there was pigeon shit all over the store. Every video and photograph we've seen of the interiors of the store right now literally is basically showing that that is a fucking lie. So this whole story of, oh, she ran that store into the ground? Where's the proof of it? And I'm telling you right now, you keep doing that, oh, they're commie, they're anti-fascist, you're going to be muted. Okay? Again, we're not discussing their politics whatsoever. I give less than a fuck about the politics. You're talking about the old man. Yeah, they stole from the old man, yes. It's the line that Bricks and Minifigs is like, oh, she ran that store into the ground. No evidence to substantiate that.
Particularly not on the record, but we do know of a disgruntled former employee that worked at another location, that back on the 24th of October, there was a U-Haul that went to a storage...
Wait. Listen again.
Disgruntled former employee. So,
wait.
And I don't know if you want this particularly not on the record, but we do know of a disgruntled former employee.
All of a sudden, oh, there's a disgruntled employee that's saying bad things about us. Uh-huh. Now all of a sudden, oh, they always do this. Oh, a disgruntled employee is saying bad things about me. There's no way you can believe them.
That worked at another location, that back on the 24th of October,
the employee Coffee talked to.
There was a U-Haul that went to a storage unit in Salem for another previous franchisee, like for a different situation that we had just gone through some things, and he had a previously, like, hey, I have some inventory that I didn't turn over that I was supposed to. It's at this storage location. By
the way, is a franchise holder technically employed by official code? Excellent question. It depends upon the way that they do their contracts. I am not familiar with how they do their contracts. The way they have talked about it thus far, it sounds like they are they may be categorized as an employee. I cannot be certain, no, because the way they've also talked about is the franchisees do what they do, corporate does what they do. So the simple answer is I don't know, but based on what Crystal was saying, in terms of when she was like, when they were talking about like her previous like shoplifting charge from when she was like, 25 years ago when she was 19, she said she disclosed that, and they said, well, we still want you to work for us, so could be a contracted employee like a DoorDash delivery. Possibly. Simple answer, I don't know. Because I have no idea how their contracts are drawn up when it comes to their franchisees. So I don't have an answer for you, I'm afraid. That one I can't. That one I could not tell you with any kind of definitive certainty.
Gone through some things, and he had a previously, like, hey, I have some inventory that I didn't turn over that I was supposed to. It's at this storage location. You guys can come pick it up. And so Brandon was sent on that day to pick up with a U-Haul inventory that then he moved down, but that was October 24th.
So when we're talking about...
Yeah, that was October 24th. The footage was from November 14th. So what he just said means nothing. What he just said... Wait. Yeah, so what he just said means nothing. Because what he's trying to do is, Brandon was at the store on October 24th, so that would explain why the U-Haul's there. Here's the problem. Number one, when Brandon was at the store on October 24th, we could see by his video footage, it was daytime. It was light out. The sun was out when Brandon went to the store on October 24th for his little, hidden shopper. For his little mystery shopper tour where he took video of the inside of the store. That was daytime. The picture with the U-Haul in the parking lot of the Bricks and Minifigs was that night of November, 14th, 17th, whenever the takeover was, at nighttime. Two completely different dates, about a month apart, and he's trying to say this explains why you saw a U-Haul in the parking lot of the Bricks and Minifig store in Salem at night. Dude, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
About this ex-employee, you're saying they are conflating the October 24th event of the U-Haul coming up to Eugene with Legos with some time after November 14th, after the store takeover. Is that correct? Am I understanding that?
Why are you looking down into the right, my guy? What are you looking at? What's with the eyes right now when you're being asked a question? Why are you... Checks notes. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So this is now kind of a strange story. Corporate is saying there was a U-Haul at the Eugene store dropping off Lego, but that was from a different night, different collection. The CEO says Brandon showed up to Salem.
Yeah, it's light out. This is the footage from October 24th. It's light out. It's not dark out. It's also a month early.
On October 24th for his secret shopper job with Crystal. And separately, he also was getting a different collection of Legos that also included Star Wars. And that's what he brought to the Eugene store, and the former employee is remembering. Then, weeks later, on November 14th, Brandon supposedly shows up again with a U-Haul, but the reason isn't for hauling Legos.
Brandon flew in to Eugene that night. At midnight. So flew from Utah on the 13th, but landed in Oregon on midnight of the 14th. Went and got a rental truck, and then went and stayed at a trailer that had previously been moved up there in anticipation, meaning a camper trailer, in anticipation of the potential hostile takeover previously.
Is that why he had a U-Haul? Is that the reason he had a U-Haul, was for this camper, or what's going on with the...
Yes. So then what happens is he takes his rental vehicle truck, and he tries to connect the trailer the camping trailer to that truck, and it's not rated for that particular weight, and he realized, oh crap. He called around and found...
My God, this is one of the most bullshitty stories I've ever heard. He's going to try and say that that he was using the U-Haul to tow the camping trip. Yeah, like what fucking camping trailer cannot be towed by any standard pickup truck? Literally every pickup, even like back when the Ford Ranger was still around, a Ford Ranger can pull pretty much every camping trailer. He's classifying it as a camping trailer. But now, here's what he's going to say. He's going to say, oh, Brandon flew in, he got a rental truck, which, by the way, before he said it was a car, not a truck, and he went to go hook it up to this camping trailer, and oh, goodness, it's not rated for this weight. Number one, that's bullshit. Literally every pickup truck can tow pretty much every standard camping trailer in existence, even the big ones. And now he's going to say, well, because the camping truck wasn't rated, or because the truck wasn't rated for this camping trailer, he used the U-Haul to tow the camping trailer. Here's the problem. Why did he get the U-Haul in the first place when he was already anticipating using the pickup truck in the first place? No. He's saying that there was a camping trail in addition to the U-Haul, in addition to the rental car, which is now turned into a truck. There was a camping trailer that was going to be getting hauled because it was dealing with this other hostile takeover that they did. And when he tried to go hook up the truck, oh, the truck's not rated for this weight, for the weight of this trailer. Again, that's bullshit. And then he's going to go, well, so he had to use the U-Haul truck to haul this trailer. Here's the problem. He didn't know that in advance and ahead time. So how would he have known to rent the U-Haul first to go and get the camping trailer, and knowing it, when he never realized that the truck would not be able to go haul the camping trailer? Like, it is Brandon psychic? Ben's already said that about the American Fork Police, but so is Brandon suddenly psychic and just knew he would need this big-ass U-Haul truck to be able to haul this trailer? He's like, guarantee that's what he's gonna try and twist it like that. He's gonna try and twist it like, well, because the truck wasn't rated to carry it, he had to use the U-Haul.
Found that U-Haul had a rating for, like one of their box trucks, and so he grabbed that, went and got...
But he said he got the U-Haul first. Hold up.
Takeover previously.
Is that why he had
the 14th? Flew from Utah on the 13th, but landed in Oregon on...
Hold up. I need to get a story from the beginning, because I thought maybe I misheard him. I thought he said he got the U-Haul first.
But the reason isn't for hauling Legos.
Brandon flew in to Eugene that night. At midnight. So on the flew from Utah on the 13th, but landed in Oregon on midnight of the 14th. Went and got a rental truck, and then went and stayed at a trailer that had previously been moved up there in anticipation.
Okay, that one's on me. He said rental truck and I thought U-Haul, but again, there's another problem. He said rental truck, and my brain called that U-Haul, so he said rental truck, not U-Haul truck. Here's another problem, though. They said he showed up in a rental car. So did he get the rental truck, figured out he can't haul the camper, again, I'm calling bullshit on that, got the U-Haul, and then what, did he return the truck and get a car instead? Because he said that he showed up, that Brandon showed up at the store in a rental car.
Meaning a camper trailer, in anticipation of the potential hostile takeover previously.
Is that why he had a U-Haul? Is that the reason he had a U-Haul, was for this camper, or what's going on with the...
Yes. So then what happens is he takes his rental vehicle truck, and he tries to connect the trailer, the camping trailer, to that truck, and it's not rated for that particular weight, and he realized, oh crap. He called around and found that U-Haul had a rating for one of their box trucks, and so he grabbed that, went and got it at 10 a.m. on the 14th, and so he then went and hooked that trailer up to the camping trailer to a U-Haul, drove that trailer down to another location where he could set up the camping trailer in Salem, dropped off the camper trailer, and then he arrived in a U-Haul to the Salem store.
Except you said he showed up in a car.
And then went in, said hi to Crystal, and then as she was leaving, the door shuts, and so he locks it, calls the locksmith. Takes him a while to finish up the changing of the locks. Brandon at this point is pretty exhausted, so...
Again, I will point out, the first thing they said when they were questioned about the U-Haul being there is he did not show up in a U-Haul, he showed up in a car. That was the first story that they said. All of a sudden, however many hours later after they got their story straight, now all of a sudden, oh yeah, Brandon showed up in his U-Haul because of this bullshit. Brandon drove the U-Haul. He's saying now they're changing the story to, yes, Brandon did indeed show up to the store in a U-Haul because of all this big bullshit reason that they just made up. When they were firm that Brandon showed up in a car. Did he show up in a U-Haul? No, he didn't show up in a U-Haul. He showed up in a car. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, he showed up in a U-Haul truck because of this big long-winded explanation. They're lying. The way he keeps looking down, he's looking down at the story him and his brother created the night before after talking to Coffee. He's looking down at the notes of the story that they created. What the fuck? This is really bad lying. These guys need to stop lying. They're not good at it. They are fucking terrible at this. Literally every lie they tell, immediately, me, and I'm just some dumb fucking anime girl on the internet, is able to poke about a dozen holes into every single lie they speak. And they have to deal with Coffee, who's a hell of a lot smarter and a much more thorough investigator than I am. And me, some dumb anime girl, is able to immediately just eviscerate every lie that they've said as soon as they say it. Look, they are so fucking bad at this. And Gramps, thank you for the 2 gifted. Thank you very much.
And he has an hour drive back to Eugene to drop off the rental truck. So he drops it off at, midnight or 1 o'clock, something like that, grabs the rental truck, and then heads back up to the camper trailer in Salem. And then, probably gets in at around 2 or 3 in the morning, spends a couple of, that's a little bit of sleep before he has to head back to the store at 9 a.m. before the other employees get there. The timeline that is trying to be portrayed just makes absolutely zero sense.
It makes absolutely zero sense because you've just lied about it. And again, I will say, they said he showed up to do the takeover from Crystal in a rental car. There is no, in this long-winded lie, like terrible lie that he just told, there is no car. There's a rental truck and there is a U-Haul. There is no car that they insisted he showed up to do the takeover in a rental car.
Okay, so I asked, obviously, for documentation of all of this from Brandon. And here's what I got. First, the U-Haul contract on November 14th. This checks out what we already know. Then I got sent a photo, the last one Brandon took in the Salem store, dated 9:44 p.m., where you can see what looks like the inside of a bird cage that the Gormans had. And lastly, I was sent a photo Brandon took.
So that's where they came up with the story that there was bird shit everywhere because there was a bird cage in the store, and they used this to create the lie that they're Now, granted, the story was pigeons. I don't know if I'm doubting they kept pigeons here. So this is the origin of the lie that there was pigeon shit all over the store.
It looks like the inside of a bird cage that the Gormans had. And lastly, I was sent a photo Brandon took of the mileage in the U-Haul. as he dropped it back off at the rental place on November 15th, 12:41 a.m. Now, the time gap there is about 3 hours between the last photo in Salem to dropping the U-Haul off, which is a bit of a problem for our timeline.
Yeah, it took like 4 hours. I mean, I worked till like 11 o'clock, and I'm like, I gotta get up early for, my other job.
You moved 4 hours of Legos out of this truck.
Yeah.
All right, so as weird as this U-Haul thing is, the timeline just doesn't fit, to be honest. If it took 4 hours to unload, you can't also drive to another city, load and unload and drop off the U-Haul in that time. But still, even if this is true, it's pretty weird, and it's one of the most bizarre stories I've ever heard, to have a U-Haul thing back to back. One of the times you're picking up Legos, the other time you're not, you're taking a camper. Nevertheless, without more proof, we kind of have to move on to another theory of how to find these missing Lego. This time, let's take the photographs that we have and reconstruct what was in the night on November 14th. Remember, that's the moment we lost the Lego. And this time, we're going to combine it with two more things. First, from corporate, I got the point of sale records from the Salem store from 2023 to 2024. And secondly, from Crystal Gorman, I got her internal records of Brian's inventory of what was sold or not in order to pay him and keep track of prices. Now, before we piece things together, I need to address something. At the beginning of this story, you saw the social post saying this collection was worth $200,000. That's what everyone knows this story as, the $200,000 Lego collection. But sadly, that post was entirely wrong. In Crystal Gorman's inventory, which has a high and low estimate value of these various Lego items, the real estimated value is about $107,000. They give high...
And they did address this in Ben's video as well. If you remember, in Ben's video, they did address that the Legos did not have the value of $200,000. They actually got valued at the $100,000. And that was how they facilitated the small claims court lawsuit. So this was already known, and they weren't, and Ben and Brian were not necessarily disputing that either. They didn't actually take issue. Yes, small claims is for 10, and so what Ben and Brian did is Brian sued for $10,000, and then Ben and nine of his friends all basically purchased Lego sets from Brian for $10,000 apiece, and so then they all individually filed a small claims court of $10,000, and that's how they facilitated filing the lawsuit for $110,000. Is Brian had $10,000 he himself was suing for, and then Ben and 9 of his buddies all basically did a contract, like, we are purchasing a Lego set from you at the value of X amount of dollars that ended up being $10,000, and then they filed their own small claims court lawsuits, and basically it got defaulted on, so they won by default. So that's how they facilitated it. So what did they get paid? They didn't. Because after they won their small claims court claim by default, the store shuttered. The store shuttered, and Brandon and Josh fled to Utah, and so they never paid them. Never got paid.
Estimates and low estimates, but that's right there in the middle. And for simplicity, I'll just be using averages and estimates here, but understand that
it is not
these numbers
legal.
are not firm, given that they're unsold Legos. It's just rough possibilities. But the point is, it's worth nowhere near 200.
Yeah, it's not legal, and that was the entire point of Ben's second video. The part 2 that Ben put out, which exposed the American Fork Police Department corruption, was then going to American Fork in Utah to basically facilitate, trying to basically get the $110,000 from Brandon and Josh. Yeah, part 3 has not come out yet. Ben has said he cannot release part 3. He is under court injunction and he is not able to release part 3. He made a video post about that yesterday. But part two, where Ben was basically trying, first he tried to talk to Braden and Josh, and then he basically got he got court summons for both of them, and he got like severely, like he basically had his constitutional rights violated over and over and over and over and over again by the American Fork Police Department because they are corrupt and they're in the pocket of Bricks and minifigs. That was Ben trying to serve papers to Brandon and Josh for court in regards to the $100,000 to $110,000 that they were owed. That was the entire purpose of his second video, was serving them court papers because of the result of the default judgment.
Averages and estimates here, but understand that, these numbers are not firm, given that they're unsold Legos. It's just rough possibilities. But the point is, it's worth nowhere near $200,000. And Reckless Ben, the one who made the original video covering this, said that surprised him.
Yeah, this entire time, literally every single person's been telling me there were $200,000. Like, that's how much, like, you could sell all these sets for.
My original assessment of about $200,000 was going up to his father's house and looking in 3 different rooms with all the sets. It was before I'd actually gone through and had set numbers and done an actual, like, evaluation. I looked at it and went based on as things progressed and as I started to delve more into the actual inventory and evaluating it, that number changed. But we put out the press release well in advance of the event itself, so that press release went out before I had those full numbers. So we went, this is a nice even number that will grab attention and bring people into the store, so we went with that.
And still, to believe that is accurate at the high end. Like, it was one of those things where when she was looking through and going, well, it says this and it says this, like,
Well, no, then to not misrepresent things regarding the small claim suits, he filed a lawsuit for the $100,000 because there was, I forget exactly how it got facilitated, but in the first video, it came about that it was $100,000, not $200,000, and so that's how they facilitated the lawsuit. I forget. There's been a lot of information that has been crammed into this great matter of mine since this all started, but it's like I do seem to recall that there was something happened in the first video where it was, where it changed from $200,000 to $100,000 in the first video. So the 100K confirmed only by Bricks and Minifigs by Brian too. Well, it's being confirmed. The $100,000 is being confirmed by Crystal here. Crystal, she said she gave a $200,000 estimate when she first did an observation. They put out the press releases before she could actually get a firm estimation. And when she actually did research into the sets for accurate pricing, the price came down to a total of $100,000, $110,000 after her doing some research about it. And so she brought it down, but the press release has already gone out. And yeah, so Ben's title was wrong. Legally speaking, that's not going to harm him. It's not going to harm him. The owner thought, she made an estimate. She overestimated the price. And I'm guessing in the contract that Brian filled out, the contract probably did not say that he was going to get $200,000. It was just she would sell them on consignment and he would take like whatever the percentage he was due would get. So it's legally speaking, this is not going to, legally speaking, this should have no impact on the case in and of itself. Because remember, to my understanding, Brian has not received any money from Bricks and Minifigs as of yet for the consignment. As I understand it, he has not received anything. So the changing up of what the total value of the set is should not impact any of the court cases currently going on.
You don't think even at the high end?
You haven't actually seen the spreadsheet.
No, I haven't.
You might want to cut that part out because he hasn't actually seen the inventory sheet.
The spreadsheet says about from between 85,000 to 120 something thousand. In the midpoint about 107 or something like that of what was inventory. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what she just said. Where Brian said in another review that they used the value of $200K for publicity purposes for showing the collection. That's literally what she just said, that they already had flyers done up, and so they used it as publicity to show off the collection. That's exactly what she just said.
Yeah, so this has been a really big point of misinformation to clear up, because if we're ever going to find the missing Lego, we need to start with the right number, the right value. It's about $107,000. Now, between 2023 and 2024, the Gormans record sales of about $24,000 of Brian's collection in their inventory tracking list. And of those sales, Brian was entitled to about 65 to 70% of it. He was paid $17,000, which roughly tracks with that. Which means on November 14th, the big night,
So there's our answer. We were wondering about this. So Brian was paid $17,000 by the time Ben got involved. That was the total that he got paid. They sold 24,000. And remember, this is an average. This is not exactly what the Legos were guaranteed, what the entire collection was guaranteed to sell for. Remember, there's a variance there from $80,000 to $125,000. This was just for averaging purposes, an average median of what the collection could go for. And yeah, he had been paid. So there's a question of how much has he gotten paid? Well, he's gotten paid $17,000. That was it. That was all he received. He had gotten paid some. But then there are all these Lego sets that are not there that, well, if they got sold, he wanted to get paid for them. So there's another, like, we'll do like this slightly higher to the average, about $100,000 worth of Lego sets that he has not been paid for that he wanted back, because maybe he was like, well, they're not selling them, so I'm going to try and do it on my own. And he wanted the Lego sets back. And from the jump, Brandon was saying, they're not here. We don't have them. Go ahead and sue us. You're going to lose.
The remaining amount of Brian's collection that should have been in there is about $82,000. Now, it doesn't take a genius to realize this is a very different number than corporate provided, who found only $2,000 to $5,000 of it linked to Brian. And later they said they only found $13,000 to $15,000 in total Lego Star Wars.
So you're talking maybe $11,000 to $15,000 total Star Wars, and that's all Star Wars inventory in the whole store. So,
by the way, since he said that, I will remind everybody, the public press release that Bricks and Minifigs put out said that they reached out to Brian, told him they would give him any Star Wars sets they had in the store, regardless if they were his or not. They literally said in their press release that they reached out to Brian and told him that he could have any and all Star Wars sets in the store, regardless if they belong to him or not. You don't say that unless you're guilty as sin and you're desperate to try and cover up your crimes. Yes, it's true. I read the Bricks and Minifigs public statement on stream a few nights ago. Maybe, I can't remember if it was earlier this week or last week. I literally read I read Bricks and Minifigs' public statement on stream where they said, we've reached out to Brian and said that he can have all Star Wars in the store, regardless if it is his Lego sets or not. And you don't do that unless you know you are guilty of doing something and you're just trying to you're just trying to get someone to shut up by saying, here, take whatever you want. We don't care as long as you drop this. Yeah, it was basically it was trying to appease him and in hopes that he would drop it and not sue or not pursue any further legal action, either criminal or civil.
That's corporate side of the story, but I didn't want to take their word for it. So I went through Crystal's photos myself, which she shared with me, and hired people to go through and hand tag the Star Wars Legos that were in these photos. We looked through over 200 plus photos, multiple videos, and matched what we saw with Brian's collection. In the end, I ended up with about $21,000 of Legos matching Brian's collection that can be proven to be in the store on the night of November 14th. Now, to state the obvious, that's about 3 to 5 times what corporate estimated, at least on their press release. Now, yes, there are inherent errors in these estimates. Maybe we picked up some Lego that matched Brian's collection, but wasn't Brian's. But even though this is a bigger number than corporate said, I have to admit, even with pretty generous assumptions being made, there's still a huge gap of about $61,000 here that I just couldn't find. But then I learned Brian had made a special side deal with M&R Productions, who had recently purchased.
This is a wrinkle. Because M&R Productions, they're a YouTuber that they frequently do live stream blogs of Bricks and Minifig stores. They just recently put out a video saying saying that they cannot in good conscience ever do a live stream blog from a Bricks and Minifig store ever again. He put that video out like beginning of this week, end of last week, something like that. He's someone that basically talks about Legos and is frequently doing like live stream blogs in their stores.
Who had recently purchased some Legos from him, and this is where it starts to get messy. So these are the pictures that M&R Productions sent me, looking at the Lego that Brian sold him. This was stuff reportedly in storage, and it's interesting because of an early inventory list, which had a column called Location that Crystal used, and it listed a lot of the Star Wars items as being located in what they called storage. Now, previously, I was told that all of the stuff in storage was put back in the store, but there's a bunch that's on this list that I can't find in the store that seem to appear in these pictures. Now, I've been assured, by the way, that most of these Legos were not part of the inventory spreadsheet. They were never given to Bricks and Minifigs. This is a separate part of the collection, but I did a check, and 100% of the items that match the Brian collection inventory just so happen to be listed with a location of storage. So this starts to make things incredibly fuzzy, and I'm inclined to believe that a lot of these are part of that same inventory list. Now, if we take that value of the side deal, that's about $10,000 to $20,000 that's not actually missing. Now, it was at this point I started looking more at the point of sales records. I realized maybe we could find some of this missing Lego there too. So this is from the Salem internal store records. Like, I guess this is what is entered when someone does a sale, and it's everything from September 2023 to November 2024 of Star Wars anything. And by the way, before we continue, yes, this was all a lot of work. If you want to, please support us on Patreon. That's how this show gets made. But anyways, according to those records, about $51,000 in sales went through during this time period in a way that matched Brian Mansell's collection. Now, that really worried me because Crystal's inventory list showed only $24,000 in sales for Brian, and Brian was only paid for that amount. But suddenly, I remembered back to a time when I spoke to Crystal, and I asked how much was sold prior to the takeover.
Which is something similar from what you told me, Crystal.
Yeah.
You told me, hey, it was about 50-something thousand.
Yeah.
But Brian was only paid $17,000.
Okay.
And it should have been about double that. And I'm just trying to make sense of that, given that everyone's accusing each other of theft right now. You understand?
I mean, without seeing any of those records, without seeing those individual tickets, I can't answer that any better.
Okay, this is kind of a problem. The math ain't math in here. 65 to 70% of 50,000 is almost double what we believe Brian was paid. And digging into the details, it turns out a lot of these sales come from what Crystal's spreadsheet actually categorizes as layaways, meaning they were marked as having been sold, but layaways are when someone puts a down payment on an item and later pays it off. But the problem was there were a lot of these, worth about $20,000 in layaway, and that felt a little strange to me. And because of that, I asked Josh Johnson, the incoming owner, and he responded, quote, "There were 2 to 3 items on layaway when they took over."
So on the list of that, on the inventory list, do you know about how many layaways
I haven't gone through and done a count, but I know it was vastly more than 2 to 3.
It was about 98.
That makes sense.
So
wait, 90? Wait, what?
It was about 98.
That makes sense.
God.
So there were about $15,000 to $25,000 worth of sets on layaway.
Okay.
Shit.
That's just the part that's surprising. That's the part that I can't get my head around. I go, how could, let me just be really honest. I don't believe there was that much layaway. I don't know. I don't know how that's possible. How could there be that much layaway? I don't know. It's like I don't believe, because I was talking to some people about bricks and minifigs. They go,
this is going the assumption that somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 people are putting Lego sets on layaway in Salem, Oregon. 90 to 98 people approximately are putting Lego sets on layaway. That sure as hell doesn't sound right. Yeah, it sounds like an easy way to launder money. Uh-huh.
yeah, there's some layaway. There's not that much layaway. I talked to people who were neutral, kind of on corporate side, but also people who were just normal bricks and minifigs people. They say there's not that much layaway. Help me understand why there's $20,000 worth of layaway here.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely, if you talk to other bricks and minifigs locations, layaway is extremely rare. I think outside of the Brian's collection,
Okay, good. I'm not crazy here. So then why was there so much layaway there?
No, absolutely not. Outside of Brian's collection, I think at the time we maybe had 2 used sets on layaway outside of his collection.
Okay.
It was not a common thing traditionally. I don't know that we'd ever done layaway before the collection came in. With Brian's collection, it was a little bit different because so much of this collection were, one, new in box, all in one place, reasonably priced, and a lot of the harder to find items. And so customers would come in and put, I'm going to guess probably half of those layaway items were not going to be sold to the person who took them on layaway. Because we had several that would put them on layaway and then change their mind. So this was something like, somebody would come in and want 10 different sets, but only be able to buy 1. Can I put the rest of those on layaway so you don't sell them? I'll pay $10 to put these sets on layaway. Traditionally with layaway, we would ask for 10% down. They'd have 30 days to make their next payment, or we'd refund the layaway amount and then put it back on the shelf. Because this collection,
the $10 she said, I think, was just as a blanket example. She wasn't saying, and she just said like it's the down payment was a 10%. I think she just threw out that $10 as just like for the sake of example for how she's describing it. That's all.
Refund the layaway amount and then put it back on the shelf. Because this collection was the collection it was, and I wanted to give these people the opportunity to, to get these sets, we were a lot more generous with how long and the amount of payments that people could make towards the layaway. So a lot of these, we had several of them. I think one of the Ewok villages, we put on layaway 4 different times, and then it came off of layaway and back on layaway and then off and then sold. So a lot of these would have gone on and off of layaway and then back out on the shelf, just depending on the person who was putting it on layaway. That was complete.
Why not have Brian just list them on eBay or Amazon himself? My guess is because the collection was so vast, the sheer amount was probably daunting. And he did not have the time to be able to do it because, he's dealing with his ill father who, was not able to take care of himself. And you've seen an idea of just how much we're talking about in terms of just volume of items. He probably just didn't want to deal with that. And he was probably more than happy with just having someone else take care of doing all of the heavy lifting for him. And he just collects the money.
Really unique to this collection.
So look, I'll be honest. I don't trust Josh Johnson, but something is weird here.
So a lot of these are, look at this. It says POS final sale price, but it's listed as a layaway, but it's sold for $5.99.
Yeah.
Because it matches with the store sale price.
Okay.
So were they on layaway? Were they accidentally marked layaway on the spreadsheet? What's going on there?
I mean, without seeing the actual sales ticket and seeing what else, what items were sold together, what else was sold with it, I can't actually see the sales ticket. We had several layaway items in which customers were putting multiple things on layaway, paying for most of one item, and then, or they were buying 8 different things together and then putting all of them on layaway and making payments on multiple items at the same time. Our Ewok Village was one of those cases. At some point he had, I think, like 8 or 9 different items on layaway. So they'd come in and make a payment for a bulk payment. I've got 800 things on layaway. I'm going to make $100 on my payment. One customer in particular would do that, and then when he'd gotten up high enough to pay for one set, we'd pull that set out, mark it as sold. So without seeing the actual tickets and my layaway records, I cannot answer a question any clearer than that.
But I even found more than that in this POS data. I also found about $10,000 in sales that match Brian's collection that were not marked as sold under this inventory spreadsheet.
Some of our things that were not found were explained by the POS system because they were found in the POS system as being sold. So like they weren't marked on the spreadsheet, but they were marked as sold via the POS system. And this is about $10,000.
What were those dates? Okay, so this is October, November. Okay.
As sold via the POS system. And this is about $10,000 worth of Lego that basically were matched.
See, and I don't know. Take anything happening from, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to do math here. I don't know without being able to see all of the records. There is a possibility that the consignments were ended when I wasn't at work and I just didn't go through and pull them up. They didn't get put in the consignment ticket. I hadn't gone through those consignments in a couple of months. I hadn't gone through the inventory in the back room in a couple of months. So it is entirely possible there were sales that were finished that I never clocked as being finished. I don't know that without going through and actually seeing it.
But you're saying it's possible stuff was sold, not updated on this inventory list.
It's entirely possible that stuff did not get updated on my spreadsheet. I'm not going to sit here and claim it's not possible. It's possible I missed things.
So where does this leave us? I know some people are jumping to conclusions here, but I must remind you.
You know what? She's admitting maybe I missed a few things that didn't get updated to the spreadsheet. So it's not like she's trying to go, oh, no, that's not possible. No way. Oh, try and come up with some, grandiose explanation. She's saying, I don't have the data to do a comparison. I don't have, POS tickets, so I can't say. Is it possible I missed something? Absolutely, it's possible. So she's admitting that she could have absolutely missed something, and she's admitting that maybe there was potentially a fumble. I don't think she's been caught. I don't agree with that. She's admitting that right off the bat, she didn't go through all this rigmarole. She didn't try and weave a lie or falsity. She was saying initially I don't know. I don't have the figures. I don't have the data in front of me. I can't say. Is it possible that I missed something or something did get missed? Sure. And she's admitting it. Unlike the Bricks and Minifigs guys, which took a whole God knows how many hours for them to get together to come up with a bullshit lie about why their corrupt franchisee got a U-Haul truck. She just flat out said, I don't know. Is it possible I missed something? Sure. Absolutely, I could have missed something. She's admitting that there could be fault, doesn't know for sure, but that there is the possibility that she basically, something got screwed up on her end. She can't say for sure though, but it did say that absolutely is possible.
That on the night of November 14th, 2024, Crystal Gorman was concerned about Brian getting paid or not getting paid.
He has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
Okay. So Crystal, ultimately, that's a business thing and not necessarily yours. Brandon will take, because taking on the business, he takes on all that kind of side there.
So obviously, one could see that and say she was intending to reconcile with Brian. Maybe she hadn't gotten around to it. And of course, corporate will probably take a more cynical view of what she's doing by printing these receipts. But the point is, regardless of whose side you're on, I think we can all agree there's a lot of weird stuff here on all sides. Abnormal stuff.
Yes.
Sure, maybe you can chalk some of this up to bad record keeping between the U-Haul, the layaways, the $20,000 in Lego sets that corporate called $2,000 to $5,000 that was there that night, the off-book deals. But even if we can't fully know 100%, what these weird things were about, I think they tell a story of what actually happened to Brian's collection. In a way, multiple people, I think, are kind of right, kind of wrong. The Gormans were correct that more of that collection was there that night of the takeover than previously thought. But corporate also alleged that some of it was offsite, and that appears to be partly true, although some of that is disputed, and it looks like, way more of the collection was sold and layawayed than Brian was paid for. But all in all, there's a lot less missing than many people think, especially if your starting number is $200,000. I estimated, and I must emphasize, estimated with bad records, that there's only about $10,000 to $20,000 in Lego that isn't explained by one of these sources. This isn't to say Brian's been fully compensated. Much of this Brian wasn't paid for that I know of. So I estimate he's still out about $50,000 to $83,000 for Lego he wasn't compensated for. And I think honestly that's something that Bricks and Minifigs obviously should handle and make right. Regardless of what a franchisee does, the new one, the old one, the company behind it must stand behind their product, their service, and I can't imagine a better example of a company doing the opposite. Unfortunately,
and there's another salient point here. It's not this started off as a dollar value and very quickly turned into something that went beyond the dollar value. Because it's not like Bricks and Minifigs said to Brian, look, come into the store. That your numbers are not matching up with what we're showing. Let's go through the numbers. We'll have our guys go through the numbers, go through the POS system, go through the records, figure out where we're at. And we'll sit down and get something worked out with you. No, what they said is, we don't got the Legos. Go kick rocks. That's the salient point here, is that Bricks and Minifigs, when first approached, didn't try to do anything to work with him. They basically said, go fuck yourself. The Legos are ours now. Or actually, they claimed we don't have the Legos at all. They claimed they didn't have any of them and told them to go fuck off. You don't like it? Sue us. We're going to win. So that is the far more important point here than the total value. All of the dollar, I'm saying, knowing what the dollar numbers is good, but it's not the overriding point that has made this such a huge issue. Nobody honestly gives a shit about the dollar value. The dollar value of the Lego sets in and of itself has become immaterial. It means nothing anymore. What matters is that a corporation tried to is fucking over a little guy who was trying to sell these sets for his his ill father who is needing round the clock care, and they're trying to screw over a guy that was trying to take care of his father, and then also and that further basically spiraled into police corruption, corporate corruption, legal corruption. The dollar amount doesn't mean anything anymore. It really doesn't. In the eyes of the public, this is no longer about the money that Brian Mansell was owed, and is about a corporation fucking over a little guy, possibly buying up a police department to do their stormtrooper work, and a police department that is grotesquely corrupt. That's what matters now.
Unfortunately, Bricks and Minifigs has chosen to deflect and dodge responsibility at most opportunities and created a really awful customer experience that has snowballed into this crazy series of events. But instead of taking accountability for that, they've taken an aggressive legal strategy, which I told them personally was a horrible idea. As of writing this, Brian Mansell is being sued for $1.3 million as part of a legal campaign against him and Reckless Ben and any of the associates. Remember, Brian is the same guy who lost all these Legos Bricks and Minifig store. And I told the CEO and COO that's ridiculous and they should drop this. Look, mistakes have been made by plenty of people here, but there's a lot more people who have inflicted self-owns, the likes of which we've rarely seen, by just choosing the worst possible path at every fork in the road. No pun intended. But the best path to making things right, in my view, is by just making Brian whole and moving on. Drop the aggressive legal strategy. You are a Lego store at the end of the day. You are supposed to be about fun, not about a rerun of Suits. But anyways, that's my investigation. Those are my closing thoughts. And I knew I wanted to approach everyone involved in this whole story with my results and see what they thought to close things out.
Does all that make sense to you? Because I'm showing everyone in this story and saying, hey,
the thing
are
that
any of these
doesn't make
numbers blowing your mind, or is any of this crazy to you?
No, it's not crazy. But what's crazy to me, again, like all the photo evidence that both sides have points to there being, sure, $20,000 worth of Lego in this of Star Wars Lego in the store that night, right? I don't know, man. I'm just like, can people understand maybe why there was some confusion and why there was?
Can people not just accept our lies and the fact that we're bullying a little guy out of tens of thousands of dollars? Can't people just accept that and move on? We're a corporation. This is what we do. Can't you guys just shut up and move on to the next thing? You're not supposed to be dogging us like this. Oh, poor corporation. Oh. Sit and spin.
Some hesitation when somebody comes in and says, hey, you owe me $60,000 worth of product in Lego, and we go, we don't even know who you are. Like, yeah, Crystal mentioned something about consignment on her way out the door. And we go, sure, we'll get that figured out. But then the guy just walks in and demands $60,000.
That's on you, That's on you, dumbass. If you're going to take over a business and the previous franchisee says, hey, I've got these on consignment, legally, it is on you to figure that out. You kicked her out. You took her over. You said that, legally, the new franchisee takes on any and all responsibilities and debts that the previous franchisee had. So that's all on you. You can't do this, oh, poor pity me. We had no idea what was going on. Too fucking bad. Legally, you needed to know what was going on. If you were too fucking lazy or crooked to figure out what's going on, that's on you. Solely on you. So fuck off with that bullshit reason.
Dollars worth of Lego? Like, what am I supposed to do other than say, cool, show me, can you show me the proof?
The problem is there's so much of a dispute on the timeline, and this is what's going to make this story so hard to tell, is like, they say, you guys are unreasonable. They tried, and eventually they gave up. But they say they tried it. They were basically met with like,
at best, BAM will have to spend years rebuilding to recover from this. I don't think that we're going to recover. I think we are potentially witness to the downfall of this entire corporation. We may actually see this entire company go down in flames.
Unreasonable requests, things like that. So
verification, documentation, is that unreasonable, do you think?
Well, I think they would say they provided the documentation, and you guys say you need more documentation. So, I mean, that's kind of the
right. A spread, like, I understand a spreadsheet and a contract are a good start.
No, a spreadsheet in a contract is literally by law all that's needed. You have a signed contract. If someone that is entered into a contract with you comes in and says, look, this is what you guys owe me, we are under contract, then it is behoven upon you to go through your records and figure this shit out. Again, they're trying to lay all responsibility on the little guy when they are a $400 million company that they can literally just go through, take a fucking day. Take a day and go through the records. But nope, that's too much. That's too difficult for them. Nope, fuck that. Nope, screw the little guy. We'll just screw the little guy and call it a day.
Yeah, but we never got that. That was never sent to us at corporate, by the way.
Y'all do have the spreadsheet though, yeah? Y'all have the spreadsheet.
That was shared online, but months after we asked for it.
It says it's. I'm so
Bullshit.
confused. It says
That's a lie.
I'm on the file right now. It says storage used, owned by BAM Franchising Inc. Owner Salem.org.
Wait. Watch enough.
I'm so confused. It says I'm on the file right now. It says
Watch him. Hang on.
storage used.
Do you see it? Did you see it? Look at him. He's bouncing. He's doing, he's not shaking. He's doing that rapid bouncing of his leg. He's bouncing his leg really fucking fast, so his entire body is bouncing. He's scared. He's like, oh shit. He didn't know coffee. He doesn't know that coffee comes into the investigation with all the information already. And he's scared.
Storage
that
used,
is
owned
scared
by
bouncing.
BAM Franchising Inc. Owner Salem.org, bricksandminifigs.com.
What are you looking at?
It says owner Salem.or at bricksandminifigs.com. That's you guys. It says owned by BAM Franchising Inc. It says created September 6th, 2024.
That was created 2 months before the takeover.
And look at it. This is the Mansell list.
Gotcha, bitch.
So this would have been created under so we have the
trying to come up with a
y'all
lie.
definitely have this. Y'all have access to this.
Well, I had no idea. So
That's not Brian's problem. This was created under the corporate account. So you did have this. Now you're lying. Now you're fucking lying. Oh, well, I had no idea about that. You're fucking lying. You got caught. This was done under a company account, so your company would have access through the cloud. This would all be synced up through the cloud. You absolutely had access to this. You fucking liar. You're caught. You're busted.
Gotcha, bitch. If this is the first that anybody has shown me that
that's your problem. If this truly is the first anybody's showing it to you, which I don't believe, that's your problem, not Brian's. That's a failure on the part of the corporation. Either Brandon decided not to show it to you, your accounting department didn't show you. That's not Brian's fault. That's all on you, numbnuts.
a spreadsheet was created using Bricks and Minifigs Salem, and all of this stuff was archived. This is the first I've seen that this spreadsheet was created by Crystal, and we don't know how accurate it is, how up to date it was. We don't know a lot of those
Now all
types
of a
of
sudden
things.
we don't know how accurate it is.
I appreciate you sharing this with us because we had no idea. Again,
Oh, he's panicking. And now he's trying to placate Coffee. I appreciate you showing this to me. He's doing the typical thing that every criminal does whenever Coffee digs his claws in. Feel like, oh, I appreciate you so much. You're doing so much good here. He's doing the exact same fucking thing. And what always happens? They always end up being a liar. They always end up being a thief. They always end up being a criminal. They always do the same thing whenever Coffee gets his hooks into him.
you don't know what you don't know, and you can't we don't know everything. And we don't go, looking in every nook and cranny everywhere. We just don't know some of those things. So if that's there, we can now have our team go look for that.
When it comes right down to it, they're going to have to make a judgment call and say, who's telling the truth? The people who were taking all the pictures and say, and we couldn't take pictures of everything the night of, but we're being honest consistently. And the people who are saying, there was $5,000 there. Really? That makes no sense. We've got the evidence, and yes, there's a discrepancy. We acknowledge we did not take pictures of everything, but does that mean that the discrepancy is, and therefore these missing, percentage, whatever that would be, 5%, is some magical other place? Or it was sitting there in the store and we didn't get pictures of it.
If I messed up,
explanation.
If I messed up on my record keeping, I will take accountability for that. Mm-hmm. It's possible. If my staff didn't draw attention that consignments had left out, so I'd move them to the thing. Any of that, I will take accountability to that.
And there is the big difference. She literally says, when Coffee presents her with possibility of like a discrepancy, and she immediately says, "You know what? If something got fucked up, I'll take it. I will. I'll put that on me if something happened." She like no run around, no roll, no tap dancing around it, no vibrating in your chair because you're terrified. Immediately, if something got messed up, yeah, it's on me. That's where it makes a difference.
I'm more than willing to do that. I need BAM to show me those tickets.
As they promised to do.
I will sit down with Brian and talk
Show
this over
me
and
the
figure out
receipts.
what we missed and where it was missed and how it was missed and make that right with him.
I mean, that's new information no one's ever found out, so that's like awesome. They're gonna lose hundreds of millions of dollars because of their own wrongdoing. They're literally gonna destroy their entire company because they're this stubborn over maybe $20,000 worth of Lego.
Sure, I'll be keeping you in the loop with what you know.
Nice. I'm excited. This was good work. My other final thoughts is, dude, you solved it, dude. That's awesome.
Except, I don't know if this is still correct, but supposedly Brandon is supposedly, don't know if this is correct or not, supposedly Brandon still has the store in Eugene, Oregon. So he would still be working at Bricks and Minifigs. If that's true. Oh, I know about that. I'm going to show it to you. Brick by brick, baby. Brick by brick. And I don't think there's anything left. I think that's it. That's all of it. Oh, yeah. That whole company is coming down brick by brick. This is amazing. Can I just say, I fucking love the fact that all of the great internet detectives are coming out of the woodwork to investigate this case and are finding all sorts of amazing information that is painting Bricks and Minifigs as like as a corporation that's basically trying to fuck over a little guy. This is amazing.